Islands of Adventure is currently topping the charts of coaster hype, with Velocicoaster impressing riders every day. But we can't forget the world's most expensive coaster that opened up right next door. Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure is one of the most technologically advanced rides in the world, and I finally got to ride it back in January, so here are my complete thoughts and review on the ride. Hagrid's opened up on June 13th of 2019 after a year plus of construction and speculation. Now, the ride replaced the beloved dueling B&M inverted coasters Dueling Dragon, or later known as Dragon Challenge. While Velocicoaster is the true thrill replacement of those rides, Hagrid's uses the land really well, and it does an amazing job of what it's designed to do. Built by Intamin, the heavily themed experience takes riders across 5,053 feet of track, propelled by 7 individual launches over and under track, through tunnels, up a spike, backwards, and through different Harry Potter scenes. Starting with the queue, the outdoor section is really well shaded and offers some nice views of the many trains racing through the forest. Once indoors, the theming is really kicked up. Make sure you keep your eye out for the dragon mural at the entrance. There's a scene featuring Hagrid and Arthur Weasley, an animated ceiling with some really cool effects, and an in-depth Hagrid's workshop. While it's far from the most important part of the experience, it really helps to have things to look at to pass the time while you're waiting for one of the longer lines in the park. We waited about 45 to 30 minutes for each ride on a below average day in terms of traffic in the park, so make this ride an early priority if you want to make sure you get a ride. A quick note, this didn't open for early entry guests when we went, instead it opened with the park, so it added to the time. Now that may have been a temperature thing since we went in January, but it's worth noting. Now, once you finally get to the boarding area, be prepared for the moving platform for the trains. The employees were excellent at getting guests into the trains in a safe and quick fashion and keeping dispatches moving at a great pace to keep that line moving along. Now, we didn't see any breakdowns when we came, but I heard that those can be pretty common. The motorbike seats themselves are surprisingly comfortable, and personally, I think the bike was a bit more fun than the sidecar. Now, you don't get to pick your row, so it's all kind of luck of the draw with that. Once the ride rolls out of the stations, the bikes hit the first small launch to get the trains moving. You'll have music and bike sounds playing in the background. That's something you'll notice throughout the rides, including with characters talking and such. Now, after the next launch and the scene with Hagrid, the bikes turns to the third launch when they really start to move. They climb into and dive out of the ruins, which is the first element that really popped on the ride force-wise, and it's followed with some really fun S-bends and turns before that fourth launch. Now, the bike seats specifically make you feel like you're going so much faster when you're higher up and leaning forward on the bars. Now, after the fluffy animatronic, the trains accelerate into the vertical spike and then fly back down through the switch track. Now, the chase into the dark tunnel is fun and it's extremely well themed before the next element, which I won't spoil. Now, the bikes then launch out of the darkness into the final and by far most powerful launch, hitting 50 miles per hour and racing to the end of the coaster before passing another animatronic, this time a unicorn. The biggest surprise for me on the ride just had to be how fast and whippy most of the experience feels. Now, I kind of expected the launches to just guide the coaster through most of the course, but at no point does the ride really feel overly slow, and on the other hand, it probably feels faster than it really is for most of it. Now, I think ideally, as an enthusiast, it would be nice to have it go a little bit faster, especially in that first half, but for what it's meant to be, which is a family coaster at heart, it is plenty thrilling for everybody. Now, the best part has to be the theming of the coaster itself. The forest and the landscaping really take you out of that park mindset, and then you have the animatronics, which aren't perfect, but are on a really large scale, and it's fun to see the effort there. Now, there are some light moments of airtime and laterals, but the real fun from the ride comes from sitting up on that bike and going for a ride. That being said, I don't think you can really discount the experience of the sidecar. It's still awesome. The ride is extremely smooth throughout, and then you have the spike, the amount of launches, and those unique ride elements that really make it extremely re-rideable and memorable. Now, I think this ride is about as perfect as a family coaster can be, while being thrilling enough for anyone to really enjoy it, but not over the top for the younger guest. Luckily, we were able to get a night ride on the coaster as well, and we got super lucky and were assigned the front row of the car. Now, it gets really dark in the back by this coaster, and there's really nothing but the motorbike's headlamp to illuminate the track ahead. The front gives such an immersive experience that it just adds to the feeling of speed and excitement, especially in the dark. Now, as a fan of Harry Potter, it doesn't get much better than this coaster. Sure, it won't top many pure thrill coasters, but it's something that I could lap all day long. Overall, Hagrid's is a coaster that everyone should love, even those who are a little bit timid to roller coasters. Now, the story is simple and easy to follow as you traverse the course that supplies some surprising forces here and there while keeping it interesting. Mix in plenty of launches and things to look for, and you have one of the best themed park experiences in the world. Now, I have this ranked 23rd on my overall list, above rides like King Ka and even Hulk in the same park. Now, it really is an incredibly crafted ride. Now, that's going to wrap up this week's video and my review of the coaster with the longest name ever. Now, let me know what you think of Hagrid's below and if it's a worthy successor to the Dragons. Don't forget to like and subscribe to really support the channel, it really makes a huge difference. Until next time, that's all from the shores of Island Coasters.